Welcome to Cardinal Coaches Corner. Our guest this week is Sherard Poteete, the 8th-year head coach of the Trinity Valley Community College Cardinal football team. The Cardinals are currently ranked number 11. They are 4-1 overall and 2-1 in the conference, and coming off a big 45-20 win over Blinn. They got Navarro coming to town Saturday for a 3 p.m. kickoff. It's the homecoming game. It's the Hall of Fame celebration. We hope you'll be with us at Bruce Field Saturday afternoon. Well, Paul, let's start with the win over Blinn. Your defense came up with 5 turnovers, scoring on 2 of them. Start there.
Yeah, I mean, what a great way to kind of start the game. Kick off, Blinn's kind of driving the football, and then boom, all of a sudden, right, defense makes a play, gets the ball right back to us. And so that was the one thing about, I think, defense played really well first half. Offense scored on 4 of their 6 possessions in the first half. So, when the defense did their thing, getting the stop, the offense was able to go out there, capitalize. And so we had a lot of momentum, there in the first half.
Well, stay with the defense. Where do you think you are defensively? We knew it was going to be a strength coming into the season. Where do you think you are headed into the final half of the season?
Yeah, we kind of got those first games out of the way. Now the back half of the season's coming, and our defensive line still just kind of causes a lot of havoc up front, and that's obviously helps the back end, right? So if you can put some pressure with the defensive line by rushing those guys, not necessarily blitzing all the time, it takes a little pressure off our secondary, which came up with a bunch of interceptions and just tip balls and finding a way to get the ball in our hands. Even had a linebacker with an interception to the house, and Caden Slater making a big play there at linebacker. But our defense is playing really well. I mean, Xavier Amos right there in the middle of the field at Mike linebacker for us it's 12 tackles this week. It's 14 the next week. He's back to 12. He's back to 14. So he is a tackling machine. So if
Zave's
got the ball,
very consistent.
He's consistent. Has a big game here, then kind of, falls off for a game or two, then another big game. He is a consistent guy for us in the middle of the field.
He's the type of player that opposing offenses have to plan for.
And, he's done a great job. I mean, he's a sophomore for us. And then kind of right beside him is our wheel linebacker. And we got Paul Singleton. That's another guy that's been here for over a year with us. And he's kind of right there behind him. So those 2 guys in the middle of the defense have done a great job at linebacker for us. And then you got the guys on the back end that's just kind of gotten better as the season's gone on. Like Ganaway is playing well. He had 9 tackles at the corner position last week versus Blinn, and then the rest of the DBs kind of got picks and got interceptions. So it was giving Ganaway a hard time on. I was like, hey man, you didn't even have a pick today, but he did have 9 tackles.
Well, on the offensive side of the ball, we knew going into the season there were some question marks on the offensive line because of the inexperience factor. The group just hadn't played together. Now they've had 5 games in now. Where do you think that group is, and are they developing like you would like to see, or would you like to see that pick up a little bit?
Well, I'll tell you what, we are a lot better off up front than we were late August, right? I mean, we've kind of made it through the last couple weeks of August, made it through September, and now we're in October, and that's what those guys did. They've gotten better, each week the longer they play with each other. So obviously they're coming together and doing a good job for us up front, and so we're kind of excited about this last push here as the season kind of hits that midpoint as we start rolling. So the offensive line is better than we were in August, and I think they're just going to continue to be on an upward trend as the season goes along.
We'll talk about a young man on the offensive side of the ball, receiver Jake Pivoteau. My gosh, he's just Mr. Automatic. If the ball touches his hands, he grabs it.
Yeah, Jake's done a great job for us for just since game 1. He's our leading receiver in receptions every week. He's that guy that just when we need a big play, he's able to make the catch, go get a first down, keep the chains moving. So I think there's a reason why he's the guy that's got the most receptions on our team. And then obviously the quarterbacks feel comfortable with him, and he's going to be in the right spot, and he's going to make the catch. And it was good to see him make a really good play the other day of making a couple of guys miss after the catch and go find his way to get in the end zone.
And it's pretty nice to see Chauncey Hogg make a nice grab, and then on the following play get into the end zone.
Yeah, Chauncey had back-to-back plays on that drive of they kind of went man coverage on him, and they blitzed, so Caden kind of had to throw the football a little earlier than he wanted to, but put some air underneath it, and it was good to see Chauncey come out of his break, accelerate through his cut, go lay out, make the catch, and then we're able to get the ball back in his hands, and he's able to go find a way to get in the end zone.
In some of the earlier games this season, and we talked about it the last time we had with you with us, penalties were an issue. But you've kind of cleaned those up now, and you see the difference on the field as far as the results.
Well, we're trying to grow up a little bit. We're not just 17, 18-year-old, 19-year-old freshmen sometimes, and we've played a few games, and I think we had a couple weeks ago we played Cisco. I think there was 13 penalties combined between the two teams, and this week I think we're right at 15 or 16 combined penalties amongst the two teams. So it's a lot better than having 20-25 just on one side of the ball.
Yeah. We'll wrap up by talking about Navarro, but before we do that, talk about what you have seen from the rest of the league thus far. I mean, Tyler wins on the last play again out at Nemi on Saturday.
Yeah, we were, after our game at Blinn, I'm sitting there talking to Coach Mahon, the head coach there at Blinn, and they knew that they're at home, so they had the scores and rattled off, hey, NEO just beat Cisco. And I'm like, what? And then it was like, hey, Nemi just beat Tyler. And I'm like, what? And I'm like, me and him at both the same time said, our conference. Like, you better show up every single day. There is no off day in the Southwest Junior College Football Conference. And then to correct that statement as you kind of go on, Tyler wound up throwing a play there. I think his time expired and scored to beat New Mexico Military at their place, which Nemi had a 17-0 lead at half, and then Tyler storms back and scores 18 points unanswered in the second half to get a 1-point win. Cisco, who we had played a couple weeks before here at home, got a win over them. They had beaten a couple teams in our conference, beaten a Jayhawk team up out of Coffeyville Community College. And then NEO, who's always a tough opponent, hasn't found the win column yet. They go and beat Cisco this week. So there are no off weeks. You better be ready to play every Saturday.
Yeah, the coaches better brush up on the tiebreakers then as we head into this last part of the season too, because it's probably going to come down to something. All right, let's wrap up with Navarro. They're coming to town on Saturday for 3 p.m. at Bruce Field, like we mentioned. What do you see from the Bulldogs thus far? And I know, like I said, they're 3-1 on the season, 3-0 in conference.
Yeah, I mean, they've done a great job so far. Their only loss was the first game of the season. They played another top-ranked team in the country at Garden City out of Kansas. And so they've just the same thing. They've kind of gotten better as the season's gone on. They've kind of got the quarterback back that played a lot of meaningful snaps for them last year. He's playing really well for them. On the defense side of the ball, I think their defensive linemen are doing a really good job of kind of even putting pressure on the opposing teams, and they're more of a 3-4 team, so they're getting some pressure with a 3-man front, and then their backers just across the board, those 4 backers are bigger, 6'3", 230, 6'3", 225, 6'3", 240, bigger guys that can run, and they'll play a lot of zone, and those guys take up a lot of zone, right? And they do a good job of getting to their spots and stuff, so we got to go see if we can find a few creases to get a few balls in there and see if we can go put a dent in that. But we're looking forward to the challenge. They're going to be a very good opponent. They're ranked 5th currently in our national poll. And so what a better opponent to have than as it just, each game just keeps getting better and better and better as the season goes along.
Yeah, no doubt. And playing the 5th-ranked team, that us ranked 11th, that gives you an opportunity.
Yeah. I mean, hey, if you want to be the best, right, you got to beat the best. And so right now they're ranked ahead of us, and they don't have a conference loss. So, I mean, let's go play some football.
And then after Navarro, you've got 2 back-to-back weeks on the road. You go to Nemi and then to Kilgore.
1 week at a time, Benny. 1 week at a time.
I knew you were going to say that, folks. Folks, thank you for joining us on the Cardinal Coach's Corner. We'll be back with you next week, and we'll say go Cards as always.
Go Cards.